everybody that's going to be here is here. So start off with bar and grill liquor licenses. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody.
This unmuted?
Yes. Let's do.
Yours?
I can hear you on my phone, but not on my.
Now you can.
So,
Psycho.
so Bruce needs to mute one of
Now,
us.
I can hear you now, I believe.
All right. All right, so we'll start off bar and grill liquor license. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Tonight is the night that you hear presentations with regard to the applicants for your bar and grill liquor licenses. And as you all probably know by now, we've had one withdraw. The Mouthful organization has withdrawn their application. And accordingly, that leaves you 2 applicants and 2 licenses. You have 3 options, however. You have the option of awarding none, you have the option of awarding 1, or you have the option of awarding 2. And so, you know, those are all still available to you. It's all contingent upon what you think is appropriate with regard to the information you gather this evening. Okay? Mr. Henley, do you have anything you want to add with regard to this tonight?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And so, unless there's other questions, that was all I really had, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Nell. Councilman Nell.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to let the council know and reiterate, last week I went to all 3 places, and now that Mouthful has bounced out, I am of the personal opinion that we don't award either one to either place. The restaurant license will work for both places. Neither one of them have a real bar. And at the gambling place, they're going to be able to, they're going to have cocktail waitresses that are serving their people that are gambling. So I don't think they're going to have a bunch of people sitting at their bar. And at Spotlight, it's going to be the same thing. They have more of a restaurant situation unless their band's playing. So I'd like to see us save them both. They're both eligible for the restaurant license, which would not be a problem. So just an opinion for you.
Councilman Gamera.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question. Do we have any sort of guidance on how these should or could be distributed? Is it, you know, I know we've heard, I thought I remember hearing first come, first serve at one point, or do we take into account economic impact or, you know, proven like business track record? I'm curious how we go about being as objective as possible in this, you know, deliberation.
City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman, thank you for the question. I would say that your decision probably would be based upon the merits of the business approach that you received this evening. As Councilman Nell stated, you know, some are more oriented towards a restaurant type application. Some are going to be oriented towards a bar and grill, you know, similar to Applebee's, which was kind of the genesis of this license format a number of years ago here in Casper, incidentally. And some are, well, you know, far more oriented towards a retail application. So it really depends on what it is that you think makes the most sense with regard to the format. I know that I have seen in my past folks hold on to one because of, you know, business opportunities that come along that fit really well and may be on the horizon. There's a lot of justification I've seen over the years, and I think all of you have mentioned a number of things that falls in line with regard to decision-making processes I've witnessed over the years. So I hope that helps, Councilman.
Councilwoman
Thank you.
Ambrose.
So I had some questions regarding the Spotlight Lounge, and so was going down there to talk with them and stuff because I had been in that facility, the building, a couple of years ago, and so I know that it was a mess, pretty bad condition. And then when they came here and said that they had done over $60,000 worth of work, well, y'all know that I have an issue with all the codes and trying to figure out what the codes are and things of that nature to make sure. And so first thing I noticed was there was no sticker or no building permit on the door, on the windows. So I had gone up and spoke with Dan and asked him if they pulled a permit, and they had not. And so they said that it's flooring and paint and some cabinetry, but I know that he's probably still he basically said that they're gonna be watching it right now. He doesn't think that they're required, but I don't know if anybody knows. So I just have a lot of questions regarding them, because it's not a residential. This is a public venue that's gonna hold, I don't know how many people, 100 people. And so if it's not to code, I just have a lot of questions regarding the facility itself. And I really am hesitant on awarding them a liquor license based on something that may not even fly.
Councilman Cathy.
Do you think, and this is just a suggestion, but do you think it's worth listening to the two proposals tonight and then tabling the issuance or denial until we have a work session to where that can be ferreted out? We can go ahead then and really discuss some of the pros and the cons and go from there, because to a point, I guess I have to agree with Councilman Nell that both of the two seem to be more along the lines of restaurant licenses, and we are trying to grow, and unless we get another, 10,000 people, we're not going to have another bar and grill license. And so I kind of hate to give them away right now when there may be other things coming along. Like, well, for example, if a Fuzzy's came back in, because I think we gave them a bar and grill. And so, if somebody like that were to come in 2 days after, we're hosed. So,
Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, these are all very reasonable questions and alternatives and suggestions. I would say that a bar is a critical piece of this license. And so if we find that indeed there aren't those features, I'm not sure they'd be eligible. Do you mind if I ask Carla to speak to that directly?
Mr. Mayor, council members, they both are aware that they do have to have a bar with a dedicated bartender and at least 6 seats and spirits to drink. Their plans to me have stated that they are going to have a bar.
Okay.
Both of them.
I have a question for Carla,
Sure.
when appropriate.
Councilman Gamero.
Thank you. Did either of those organizations indicate to you why they were seeking a bar and grill license instead of a restaurant? Were they worried about what's the main difference, the 60-40 split in food and alcohol? Is that they were worried they wouldn't meet that threshold or something? Or
They were not worried about that, Mr. Mayor and council members. They want a bar. They don't want to be restricted to a dispensing area. They want to be able to open a beer and give it to that person right there. So that they don't want to have a little room per se, now it's area in the back, and have to mix their drinks and then bring it over.
did the Wyoming legislature just cut that out of the requirements?
A room, but they still have to have an area for a restaurant liquor license.
Councilman Nell.
Thank you. I forgot to mention this earlier, and please forgive me, but I think Carter hit the nail on the head, and so did Mr. Cathy. And this is the main reason I said I don't think we should award either one, because a restaurant license will work for them. But if my information is correct, I believe Chili's just bought IHOP, and I don't think IHOP has a liquor license for them to transfer. So they're, we're going to have some other opportunities where these are going to be necessary, where in these two situations, since I've been in both of them, they're not. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Councilman Nell, I just wanted to clarify though, IHOP is in Evansville, it's not ours, so we won't have that license if there were one.
Oh, okay, sorry, you are correct, sorry.
I guess the only question I have is, or what I think we should take into consideration is, my understanding is, the Downs place, they haven't even, their kitchen's not even open, and I'm assuming that the same thing is with the other one.
That is correct.
So I would suggest, if we decided to move forward and award any of these, I wouldn't want to get back in a situation where, like the last holders we had, held on to them basically for a year and sold hardly anything, didn't use them to their full potential. So if we're going to put it out there, I would like to see those, the kitchens up and running and going before they get awarded, and do it in a certain amount of time. Have a drop dead date, if you will, of when it has to be up and running. And if they're not up and running by that date, then they're back on the shelf for somebody else to use. I'm totally against parking them anymore, or giving them to somebody that won't use them to their potential. Okay, anything else on this?
Well, if you don't mind, I noticed Councilman Gamroth was asking about the 60/40, and that is something that applies to both of them. The only real difference is, I think you stated, is the bar. They both have to have the 60/40 split, and so that's really what we're talking about. And we're really talking about, do we feel that those establishments really need or are going to fully utilize the bar?
So we'll see in their presentation. So, okay.
Mr. Mayor, real quick before we leave that item,
Okay.
if I remember correctly, and I'm kind of looking towards Carla and Krista here, did we script the option of tabling until a work session? I can't remember.
I didn't see it in there.
In case you wanted to do that.
It would be in the discussion after both public hearings were considered. Sorry.
So if that is an option that you'd like to exercise, the attachment here will help you walk through that tonight, hopefully. Thanks, Krista.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on that?
No, sir.
All right, we'll move on to the back 9 edition PUD zone change. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We put this on the pre-meeting for a couple reasons. Number one, the conversation at the Planning Commission was a little more involved than normal, and accordingly we thought it'd be helpful to have some conversation with you in preparation for tonight's formal steps that would be initiated at your meeting. As you can see on the title here, the basic request is to eliminate the PUD, put in a zone change that would accommodate, in this part of the project, the construction of a commercial building against Wyoming Boulevard there. And for those of you who are familiar with the area, it'd be right next to Maxie Becker's old office there. I asked Craig and Liz to come forward tonight and be prepared to answer any questions you might have. We did send out the video, and I wasn't aware that...
Did you try to listen to that?
I didn't. The audibility was a question, I guess, and so...
Did anybody else try to listen to it?
I watched the whole thing. I didn't have any issues.
Really? You could hear the people from the podium quite nicely.
I got these sweet Audio Technicas. Maybe that's what
I couldn't hear it.
Bruce couldn't hear. Okay.
Okay.
So if it's okay with you, Mr. Mayor, I could defer to Liz and Craig and answer any questions that you all might have.
Good.
Your Honor, members of council. I'm going to pass these out while we wait. I made some maps, or Craig had put these together for us. We had these in the Planning Commission packets. So just
pretty good static feedback.
Yeah, that's Bruce.
okay. A little bit of background on the area that we have for the proposed zone change this evening. It is the area with the black line around the outside edge. I have extras, Council.
Anybody want more?
2001, this PUD was established by Richard and Maxie Becker as developers and realtors. The PUD was designed, again, for commercial and residential mixed use, always with the intent that there would be a couple of commercial properties right there along the edge with Casper Mountain Road and the intersection of West 39th. Don't find West 29th. Also within the PUD, there was the allowance for 4 single-family homes and then 78 twin homes. So it was quite the mix that was allowed in that PUD, design standards and such. The property has changed hands now. Mr. Becker has moved out of town after his wife passed. The property had transferred to their daughter. She has since sold that property, and the new owners would like to have that rezoned from PUD to a more, keeping up with the market, more flexible development. The desire is to still keep the 2 commercial properties there at that corner, but instead of having the 78 twin homes, 20 of which have been developed, as you'll see in this area, they want to go further into more single-family homes. And so we've got pretty much 3 owners now in this particular area. 1 key owner here, a little bit of the black line, another owner that comes around here, and then at the corner with the 2 commercial properties is Colby Frontrero. I'm probably butchering his name, I apologize. He'll be here this evening to talk about this. So we brought this forward. So we're looking at, again, a C2. We're looking at R3, pardon me, yeah, R2 for most of the single family, and then R3 is where the twin homes currently exist. So 3 different zoning areas as opposed to the PUD. The concerns that were brought, and we had a lot of that in the packet, we're wanting to make certain that the single family homes will be developed to the same high standards that we see with this part of the development. That is up to the developer to make the decision. That is not something that we can control. But that was of concern on that area. There is also the concern of what the traffic would do. The commercial use here that has not been built out yet is for a combination, I think, insurance and physical therapy building. And it's Colby's wife that's interested in the physical therapy spot, and then the other still is the commercial office that the Beckers had for their office, their real estate office. So that's the only 2 commercial development that is planned in that area. Again, that's the only C2 section in this particular rezone, and the rest you will see primarily as single-family residential development.
Councilwoman Ingress.
So within this, I have a lot of questions.
Sure.
I know that these twin homes sell like crazy because I've personally sold 3 of them myself. So I don't think selling them is an issue.
Nope.
They're in high demand. And so in their letter, they said they're hard to sell, and that's not true. But within that PUD, can they come through and then just change, so they don't want to do more twin homes, they want to do more single-family homes, and just change the existing PUD just to allow single-family homes without changing the zoning altogether?
Your Honor, yes, we can amend a PUD, but it is a very strenuous project to do. Staff advised the applicants to look at the zone change, got all of the required signatures. At any point that we do the zone change out of a PUD, it is required to get signatures from all of the property owners in that area, which we did do. So is it possible? Yes. Is it far more cumbersome to amend a PUD than to do a zone change, which will allow the flexibility in that area? That's what we recommended to staff.
I would just add, it still opens it up, just like a zone change does, to public opinion. So I think that uncertainty of what every time they want to make a change with the PUD bothers a lot of developers, and I feel rightly so. They feel that they have more certainty under the traditional zoning classifications. Although maybe it's not as flexible in some ways, it also doesn't box them into a corner when they want to make changes.
Well,
She said she had a lot.
well, I guess in my mind, I feel like they've got the flexibility within their PUD to accomplish what they're wanting to do. This is not a commercial area in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it just simply isn't. So I don't see how this would be even conducive to just really add much commercial space to it due to the fact that it's just not. And so, but I was curious if they could, within their current PUD, without disrupting everything, just simply make amendments if they don't want to continue with twin homes. Because that's the impression I received, which I was going to ask, that maybe they just had a bigger issue with the twin homes versus the single family homes. Because the
ownership,
covenants that are
yeah.
currently in that area still apply, correct?
Yeah, the covenants are private development restrictions that are on the property between the property owners, so the zoning doesn't affect the covenants. So a lot of those same design standards and things like that will still carry forward. I don't know what their plan is with that. That's really none of the city's business, to be honest. I'll just leave it.
And to add to that, we've got new ownership, and that is a lot of the reason that we've seen the zone change request. With the one owner, with the Beckers, it was fine to have the PUD, but the new owners want the flexibility.
What we've seen with other PDs is McMurray Business Parks and Tenniel Hills. We've seen up to a dozen changes over the years, and it costs developers a lot of time and that uncertainty, and neighbors get to come out and beat up their project and talk about narrow streets or things that may or may not be able to be resolved at that point. And it's painful for those developers, and I feel for them. So I understand why they would want to, given the current way that our PUD ordinance works, move away from that. And I've honestly encouraged them to do that.
Councilman.
What you were asking about and what you were trying to state basically about covenants and things, that's all actually based on the homeowners association, if there is one. And if there is no homeowners association, then,
There is homeowners association.
well, I don't know, I'm just, because I live in an area that doesn't have one. So, but that's what I was getting at is if there's a homeowners association, then it's up to that homeowners association, as you know, to enforce the covenants. But otherwise, the city's not going to enforce them.
No, it's just that they have restrictive covenants in this area, which I would assume would go over into whether they do the zone change or leave the PUD the same.
Depends on how the homeowners association was developed. It could be a separate homeowners association for everything that's in Brown.
Right.
Your Honor, that was a point of disagreement at the planning commission meeting, was whether those phase one in the yellow restrictions or covenants would carry over or not. So I think they're still working that out, and I encourage them to work together and clarify how those covenants are going to carry forward.
And Your Honor, you might ask that this evening, because it did come up at the planning commission.
Right. Because I just think that the covenants and all of the restrictions in this area need to be carried into this area, which would make everybody feel a little bit better, I suppose.
Councilman Nell.
Ms. Becker, I believe I heard you say all of the homeowners in that area signed off on this, correct? Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, and additionally, our Planning and Zoning Commission also approved this to forward to us. Is that not also true?
Yes, Councilman, thank you for bringing that up. It was unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Because I just feel like we'd be micromanaging to go against them. Otherwise, why do we have them? So, because they're more privy to the information than we are, I guess. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. And agenda review. City manager.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think I have anything else to add. Good, let's talk about it. Thank you.
All right. On the floor, couple minutes. Before we begin this evening, I'd like to remind everyone to silence their cell phones at this time, and I now call the August 3rd, 2021 regular council meeting to order. The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, excuse the absence of Councilmember Lutz.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Pollock, second by Councilman Johnson. Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, motion passed.
Council meetings are also televised and can be viewed on cable channel 192. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the minutes of the July 20th, 2021 regular council meeting as published in the Casper Star Tribune on July 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Engbretson, second by Councilman Cathy. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With the abstention of Councilmember Johnson noted, motion passed.
I just can't see the other two. Chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the minutes of the July 20th, 2021 executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Engbretson, second by Vice Mayor Pacheco. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With the abstention of Councilman Johnson noted, motion passed.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the minutes of the July 27th, 2021 special council meeting as published in Casper Star Tribune on August 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Pollock, second by Councilman Cathy. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With the abstention of Councilmember Johnson noted, motion passed.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the minutes of the July 27th, 2021 executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor Pacheco, second by Councilmember Engbretson. Any amendments? We'll clear the screen and then please cast your votes. And please record the vote.
With the abstention of Councilmember Johnson noted, motion passed.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the August 3rd, 2021 bills and claims as audited by City Manager Napier.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Engbretson, second by Councilmember Pollock. Any abstention or nay votes? Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, motion passed.
Now is the time we invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak with the council to come forward. As stated on the first page of the agenda, we ask the following. Please state your name and address. Direct all questions, comments to the mayor and only the mayor. No personal attacks on staff or council will be tolerated. Council will not respond to personnel matters. These will be referred to our city manager. Questions posed by speakers may or may not be responded to by council members. Presentations are limited to 5 minutes, and the duplication of speakers will not be allowed, nor will time extensions be permitted. Please note that public hearings and ordinance each have their own comment period, so please hold your comment on these items until we reach them. Is there anyone that would like to address council? Okay. Please read the consent agenda titles.
Mr. Establishing August 17th, 2021 as the public hearing date for consideration of the following two items. Item 9A1A, adoption of the fiscal year 2022 budget amendment number 1. And item 9A1B, the transfer of retail liquor license number 28 from 307 Bar LLC, doing business as 307 Bar, located at 4370 South Poplar Street, to Sunrise Center Entertainment LLC, doing business as Let It Roll, located at 4370 South Poplar Street.
Chair would entertain a motion to by minute action to establish the public hearing dates just read.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Cathy, second by Councilman Johnson. Any abstention or nay votes?
I'll abstain from item 1B, please.
Okay. Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With the abstention of Councilmember Pollock noted, motion passed.
I'm going to abstain out of the next one, so Vice Mayor Pacheco will handle this portion of the meeting.
I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of the zone change of the Back 9 Addition PUD. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 9 exhibits tonight. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Liz Becker to J. Carter Napier dated July 21, 2021. Exhibit number 2, affidavit of publication is published in the Casper Star Tribune dated July 22, 2021. Exhibit number 3, public comment from Gun Site LLC dated June 30, 2021, withdrawing formal opposition / protest. Exhibit number 4, staff report from Liz Becker to the chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission dated June 11, 2021. Exhibit number 5, supplementary staff report from Liz Becker to the chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission dated June 15, 2021. Exhibit number 6, plat of the Back 9 Addition. Exhibit number 7, Back 9 Addition, Back 9 subdivision agreement dated June 21, 2011. Including PUD guidelines. Exhibit number 8, zone change application with letters of support from residents within the Back 9 subdivision. Exhibit number 9, letters of support opposition from surrounding property owners.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. You have before you a request to change the PUD that was established for the subject area in June of 2011 with regard to the 44.5 acres being considered. The request is that indeed this PUD be changed to an R2, an R3, and a C2 zoning classification for various portions of the subject area. The Planning Commission did receive this request and voted unanimously to support the zoning changes that are in front of you this evening.
Thank you so much. Council will now listen to public comment. Public hearing comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the issues involving the zone change, please approach the lectern. Those that are in favor.
Hello, I'm Colby Frontiero, 1231 30th Street.
Colby.
I own the commercial parcel, Tract F, of the Back 9 subdivision. I just want to say thanks for the good experience so far and learning the process of going through a rezone. I've been grateful to work with the city officials and learn a lot about the process, and was grateful to see the P&Z rule unanimously in favor of the zone change. You know, all personal agendas aside, for and opposed, it was nice to see the city look at the future land use plan and work toward that goal. I'm obviously in favor of the zone change. If there's anything, if I can comment toward the end against any rebuttals, I'd like the time to do that.
Any questions for Colby? Council.
So are you representing the residential portion or just the commercial portion?
The commercial portion.
I guess I had more questions regarding the residential side of things.
I may or may not be able to answer them. I could try. The new owners of the land have informed me of what they're planning to do, which is build the twin homes to finish out that subdivision portion and then also build single-family homes.
So I guess with the PUD, and I was asking earlier that if you could make changes within the existing PUD to eliminate the twin homes, because when I was reading it, it said that they didn't feel like the twin homes sold as well as a single-family home. So they're going to continue to build twin homes or not?
So there's two more in the zoning for R2 that need to be finished out for that section, because you have to keep it a certain zoning so that the current twin homes can stay. And those two twin homes will be finished to maintain that zoning portion, and then the rest will become single-family home, hence the division between R2 and R3.
Are the covenants and the HOA going to carry over into
Covenants
the
will
new
carry
portion?
over, yeah.
And the HOA?
I'm not aware of the HOA that's in place. I can't speak to that. I just know the covenants, the plan is for all of us to keep the covenants in place.
Okay.
Any other questions? So Colby, can you answer, so you're doing, and I know you've already you answered this already, so you're doing the commercial portion of that. So the residential owner, and then prior to that, was it Trimax that owned that?
Yes, sir.
That was before that, and they sold that to the residential part, and then to you. Gotcha, okay. And so the residential portion, who owns the residential again? I know that, do we, oh, you, okay.
Hansel owns that.
Thank you.
Ben Hansel, 128 East 27th Street, Casper.
Great. Thank you. I just was trying to, I'm putting it all together because I know they gave us some information too, so I'm just putting it all together, so. Great.
So to answer your question, there are actually 4 twin homes that need to be built out. And then the rest of that would be the R2 single-family residential. And yes, we would keep the same covenants that are in the back 9 now for that rezoned residential area. Yep.
So the same, I'm sorry.
No, yes, go ahead.
The same footprint and the architectural committee and all of those, so that you don't lose the integrity of the neighborhood.
That is correct.
Mr.
The
Vice
same covenants that are filed with the county now.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Go
Vice
ahead.
Mayor, point of order.
Yes.
Shouldn't Councilwoman Engebretson be abstaining from this and from the discussion, since she has already said that she has sold 3 of those twin homes and will potentially continue to be selling those homes?
Mr. City Attorney, can you advise us on this?
I don't know what the Councilwoman's intent is, but if in fact it looks like that may affect or would have the perception of that she might be voting or tending to vote one way or another based upon her her status as a realtor and having sold homes in this particular area, if that is in fact the case. And I don't remember if that was said or not.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
John.
for me, I think she's clarifying some things that weren't totally clarified, and in my opinion, I think it's perfectly okay to ask questions regardless of whether you're abstaining or not. But that's just my opinion, I guess.
If, I believe, as continuing on the point of order, if you're going to abstain, you're supposed to refrain from the discussion.
So I guess the question would remain then, if Councilmember Engebretson is going to abstain from voting on this, and I guess I'm directing this at you, John. If she's going to abstain from voting on it since it's a real estate issue, I'm assuming that she would not comment on it or ask questions of clarification. I guess that would be the question.
Yeah, I under the current council ordinance, and this was adopted just the last session. If you are going to abstain, you are not to participate in the discussion, which would include asking comments one way or another, or asking questions one way or another. And as we've seen often, with council member Pollack, the ordinance actually says to absent yourself from the discussion. I know that there are certain circumstances where it's a minute type of thing, which is fine to say.
Okay.
But typically, that was adopted just the last session around to make it clear
Okay.
that the council didn't want to have the appearance of impropriety or some type of conflict of interest.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thanks, gentlemen. We appreciate the clarifications. Thank you. Any others in favor? Speak in favor. Come on up.
Jesse Florquist, 1565 South Center Street. I am, would be part of the group, the ownership group on the commercial tract F in this development. I'm also a business owner here in Casper and would be able to relocate my business to that new location. So I'd like to speak in support of this rezone effort and maybe just take a second to also speak to the fact that we're understanding that there was some concern with our intentions with the rezone in general, and that I think it's just important to point out that we feel like we want to be a part of that neighborhood and a part of that community and add to it, not to take away or not to change the nature of what's there. And we see that as being a positive addition to that area. As a member of Casper and, you know, have a family here and whatnot, we would be honored to be able to work and, you know, be located in that area.
Great. Thanks, Jesse. Any questions for Jesse? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Any other speakers in favor? Okay, at this time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the issues involving the zone change to please approach the lectern. Those who wish to speak in opposition. Okay. There being no others to speak for or against the involving the zone change, I now declare the public hearing closed. Shoot, we should have asked if Bruce and Kyle had any questions. That was my bad.
I don't.
Yeah, okay. Please read the ordinance by title only.
An ordinance approving a zone change of the back 9 addition.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve on first reading the ordinance just read.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Pollock.
Second.
Second by Councilman Johnson. Discussion. Any amendments? Okay. We'll wait for that to come up.
Perhaps I could call the roll.
Oh, you want to do that? No worries. Okay. Go ahead. We'll start over here. Call the roll.
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Bruce?
Aye.
Kyle?
Aye.
Thank you.
With Councilmember Ingebretson and Mayor Friel abstaining, motion passed.
I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of the vacation replat and zone change creating Trails West Estate Number 5 addition. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 exhibits. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Liz Becker to J. Carter Napier, dated July 21, 2021. And exhibit number 2, affidavit of publication, is published in the Casper Star Tribune, dated July 22, 2021.
Mr. City Attorney, or City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you are probably aware, the area in question this evening is currently platted as a residential subdivision, but it is, at this point in time, undeveloped. And so the request in front of the council this evening is to replat the 116 acres of residential area into 4 newly configured tracts that would essentially be dormant until the time that they want to develop further, in which case they will probably come back to the council and ask for another replat in the future.
All right. Council will now listen to public comment. Public hearing comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the issues involving the Trail West Estate Number 5 addition to please approach the lectern.
Evening. Mayor
Evening.
Creel, members of the council. My name is Keith Tyler. My address is 6013 River Park Drive. I'm speaking in favor of the request for replat and rezoning. This is a piece of property that was originally platted back in the early 80s as part of a huge platting and subdivision undertaking that failed during the quagmire of the middle 80s when Casper was in the doldrums. It's an area of that whole area out there that probably is never going to be developed, in my opinion. It's certainly not in the original configuration. It's poor soils, poor terrain from a topographical point of view, huge easements for power lines and gas lines. So it's just, it's a piece that the future vision that I have for it doesn't include a development at this point. And so I'm looking to rezone it and replat it so that it can be put in kind of a caretaking condition until future use of the property is identified. I have some things in mind, but they're down the road quite a ways.
Okay. Are there any questions? All right. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of? At this time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the issues involving the Trails West Estates Number 5 addition, please approach the lectern. All right, there being no others to speak for or against the issues involving the Trail West Estate Number 5 addition, I now declare the public hearing closed. The chair would entertain a motion to approve on first reading the ordinance just read.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilmember Pollack, second by Councilman Cathy. Discussion.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. I don't know that the clerk read the title to begin with, so if you want to do that just for the record.
Yeah, I think we skipped that line. So if you could please read the ordinance by title only.
An ordinance approving a vacation, replat, subdivision agreement, and zone change for the Trails West Estates Number 5 Addition subdivision in the city of Casper, Wyoming.
Okay. Discussion? And I can't see the other two, so if, okay. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. And please record the vote. No, sorry, I need to change that to abstain.
With the abstention of Mayor Friel and Councilmember Engebretson noted, motion passed.
Mouthful LLC has rescinded their application for a bar and grill liquor license. Therefore, only 2 public hearings will be held this evening. Council will hold both public hearings prior to deliberating on whether to issue any of the bar and grill liquor licenses that the city of Casper has available to issue, and if so, to which applicants. I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of the bar and grill liquor license for Grace Partners LC, doing business as Spotlight Lounge, located at 128 East 2nd Street. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mayor. We have 4 exhibits. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Fleur Tremmel to J. Carter Napier, dated July 21, 2021. Exhibit number 2, affidavit of publication, is published in the Casper Star Tribune, dated July 26, 2021. Exhibit number 3, affidavit of website publication, is published in the City of Casper, is published on the City of Casper website, dated July 26, 2021. And exhibit number 4, liquor license application, filed June 17, 2021.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, do you have a report?
Nothing further to add, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Council will now listen to public comment. Public hearing comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the bar and grill license for the Spotlight Lounge to please approach the lectern.
Hi, Matt
Miskimmons, 72 Marigold, PV. We tried to email some stuff to council today. I'm not sure if it made it, but I have some papers if anybody wanted to look at it. It's just a copy of our tentative menu. Seems like there might have been some questions last time on being able to generate the required 60% of revenue for the bar and grill license. So I think when people hear hot dogs, you think hamburger stands, old stuff back in the 80s, but gourmet hot dogs are kind of a new fad. So these are a little bit outside of the box with presentation. So the hot dogs are actually, if you look at the prices on them, not to scare anybody away because they're not, but they're definitely worth what we're trying to get for them. But if you look at our menu items, it's not $1 for a hot dog. So revenue generation will definitely come into play when people are coming in. So we're not operating primarily as a bar. Also, we are going to be open every day of the week, and a substantial portion of our hours will be catering mostly to the eating crowd instead of the drinking crowd. I mean, we're open every day. Occasionally, Fridays, Saturdays, we're going to be offering live music, so those will teeter more in the way probably of adult beverages as opposed to the menu. But for the rest of the week, we're operating primarily as a restaurant. We also have bar food. We call it bar food, but in addition to this is just a tentative menu. We'll still have our menu available all hours of the day to whatever time we close. And the weekends, we're probably leaning towards that 2 o'clock if the demand dictates. And so we'll have food available the entire time to, again, make those numbers be in line with the 60-40 rule. We have every confidence that we can adhere to that. Also, just in the good faith that we've had for these last couple months, we have been downtown trying to develop this place while keeping the historic aspect of it, just making it, everybody that comes in there is really keen on the fact that they were in there as a kid. So we're not changing that. People are drawn to that place. So like I said, we anticipate having a good turnout. People will be there for the dogs. We've sunk probably tens of thousands of dollars into this building by now, just in making it to what we believe it should be. We've got people waiting for jobs, probably around 20 to 25 jobs we're looking at by the time it's all said and done. So if the hang up is on the revenue generation, the 60-40, we have every confidence, and we hope you do as well. There's an invitation open if you guys want to come down and look to see what we're doing, just to maybe get the vision of what it will be. You guys are still invited down there for any time. Like I said, we have people chomping at the bit to come down and work for us, so we're hoping we can get this approved, get this finished up. This is the last hurdle in trying to make our opening date here within a couple weeks. So again, just if you have any questions for me, feel free, but that's what we got.
Any questions? Councilman Cathy.
Do you really see a lot of people sitting around a bar drinking? Or because the thing that it was mentioned is, you just mentioned that primarily the middle parts of the week were primarily going to be restaurant, and if you're going to have the entertainment on the weekends, then do you really see people trying to sit at the bar, or do you still see more of the restaurant style seating,
Sure.
for lack of a better term?
Probably, are you talking about just for the more of the entertainment portions of that? Is that what you're asking about, or just during the day? Because during the day, it's going to be set up as a restaurant. There's not going to be, during our bulk food time hours, Monday through or Sunday through, say, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, restaurant. We have all the tables out everywhere. There is a bar there, but I don't know if you guys have been there. There's about 12 to 14 seats, depending on how many we can put in there for the actual bar. We are definitely advertising and going forward with restaurant. The hot dogs is a big part of our stuff. At nighttime, if you're talking about more the Friday, Saturday on occasion when we are open late and have music, we have no intention of stopping the food. We're still pushing that agenda because food definitely helps generate the revenue. So we don't have any. If you're asking if we're trying to pull the food back and push bar stuff during the evenings when we have that stuff, no, we're still offering everything full. It's going to be, the seating is going to be available regardless of which way we go.
The reason I was asking that is I'm really trying to figure out if your business plan really leads more towards a bar like say an Applebee's or a Chili's or some of those types of establishments versus more along the lines of a restaurant. And by the fact that we have a limited number of bar and grill licenses and unlimited restaurant licenses, if your actual operation is going to be more, if maybe a restaurant license would be more suited to what you're looking for than a bar and grill license. That's what I'm trying to weigh in my mind.
Sure. Well, we definitely are going to, I mean, in our name, it's actually the lounge. I mean, you can see that it's running. So we are trying to cater to both demographics. We are definitely trying to push the restaurant during the day, but we know that there's a 60-40 rule. So we want to make sure we're generating enough revenue from that. But on the weekends, when we are having the live entertainment, people, when you walk in there, you're going to assume it's a bar. We're open till 2. We want to be able to make drinks in front of people and have that atmosphere. But again, while adhering to the 60-40 rule. So we're trying to get the best of both worlds in there. But yes, we want to operate as a bar during the weekends when we can, but have that those food styles still coming as we need to.
Thank you.
Hoping.
Is there any questions from the council members I can't see? I guess they'll speak up if. I guess the only question that I would really have is, your kitchen, is it open or when you have your grand opening, is it open and ready to go, or are you?
By the time we have our grand opening, yes, it will. I mean, we are not fully functional yet. We're waiting for the hoods to be installed. But other than that, I mean, yes, when we're open, the kitchen will be open and available.
Okay. When are you planning on opening?
We were really shooting for the 12th. But if it's the night, it might push to the 19th. We're trying to get open on a Thursday evening, just because that's when a lot of stuff starts happening. And if you guys walk the streets on Thursday nights, you'll see that's the night. So that's our goal. Is now 19th is no later than we're shooting for.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the bar and grill license for the Spotlight Lounge? All right, this time I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the bar and grill license for the Spotlight Lounge to please approach the lectern. All right, there being no others to speak for or against the bar and grill license for the Spotlight Lounge, I now declare the public hearing closed. All right, so we'll go right into the next one. I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of the bar and grill liquor license for Wyoming Downs, OTB 12 LLC, doing business as Wyoming Downs, OTB 12, located at 1121 Wilkins Circle. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, we have 4 exhibits. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Fleur Trummel to J. Carter Napier, dated July 21, 2021. Exhibit number 2, affidavit of publication, is published in the Casper Star Tribune, dated July 26, 2021. Exhibit number 3, affidavit of website publication, is published on the City of Casper website, dated July 26, 2021. And exhibit number 4, liquor license application, filed July 7, 2021.
Mr. City Manager, do you have a report?
Nothing further to add, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Council now listen to public comment. Public hearing comments are limited to 5 minutes. No duplication of speakers will be allowed. At this time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the bar and grill license to Wyoming Downs OTB 12 to please approach the lectern.
Eric Nelson with Wyoming Downs, Mayor. I'm happy to be here tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity to come here and ask for a bar and grill license. This is going to be a unique opportunity, the facility that we have. It's exciting about it because we have multiple things that are going on at the facility itself. Of course, we have the HR terminals that are going to be the mainstay of the business itself. Then we'll have pool tables and darts. We'll also have a lounge upstairs for sports wagering. We signed a contract with BetMGM. BetMGM should be on board on September 1st to have mobile wagering, and so we're going to cater to that. We're excited to be there. No question, we're more of a, a hot dog, chicken wing facility with beer. Just because when your clients are playing at the machines, they like to take a break, they'll come up to the bar. And we think this is going to be a real good opportunity for us to serve this community. Not only that, the tax dollars, there's no question we raise a lot of money in taxes. We pay millions of dollars throughout the state. We have 15 OTBs and 1 live racetrack. I think the calculations are over $7 million in taxes to the county and the city and the breeders. Just here, there's a large impact at the what I call the sports lounge. It'd be approximately $125,000 in taxes we'll pay this year if we didn't have the bar and the grill license. With the bar and grill, I project about $425,000 in taxes to the city. And that's based on what we do at the Applebee's facility. And then would have an additional 10 jobs at the business opportunity that we have here. So I'm stand here to answer questions and go from there.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I have one, please.
Councilman Nell.
Thank you. So I looked at all of the situations when everyone was applying for these, and yours specifically, I'm playing devil's advocate, so I want you to correct me if you don't feel this way, but most of the people that are in your establishment are there to gamble, and even if they're sports betting, they're sitting around tables, so I'm assuming you're going to have cocktail waitresses. So it seems to me that a restaurant license would more than serve your needs. I've been to a couple of your places, and I generally don't see people sitting around the bar. So I'm just curious why a restaurant license, which is much more readily available, wouldn't suit you better.
Well, I appreciate the question, your Mayor. We have a bar facility there, and we'll be having table or games in that bar facility. And we will have waiters and waitresses running hot dogs and wings upstairs and downstairs. So it really does require, we're more tilted toward selling both the wings and the hot dogs and beers and drinks to our customers there. So I think it's really important, and we're probably more in tune, much more than a restaurant, to be more as the definition would go with the bar and the grill. So I think at this facility here, there's no question more of a bar grill facility, exactly what it is. I hope I answered that question.
Okay, any other questions? I guess I would have the same question as I asked the last. Is your kitchen up and running, and if so, or if not, when will it be?
Should be up and running within the next 2 weeks, and so it should be fully. We had a lot of equipment in the facility, Mayor, and so we just need to clean that up, and we have some new equipment that should be delivered by the end of the week.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the bar and grill license for Wyoming Downs OTB 12? At this time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the bar and grill license for Wyoming Downs OTB 12 to please approach the lectern. Okay, there being no others to speak for or against the bar and grill license for Wyoming Downs OTB 12, I now declare the public hearing closed. Having completed both public hearings for the bar and grill liquor license applications, council will now consider each application in the order of their submittal. The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, authorize the issuance of a bar and grill liquor license to Grace Partners LC, doing business as Spotlight Lounge.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor Pacheco, second by Councilman Johnson. Discussion? Councilman Cathy.
I would like to move to, by minute action, postpone the consideration of the issuance of either of the bar and grill licenses to a date certain of August 17th, 2021, and have further discussion about this in our work session next week.
Okay, Councilman Kathy has put on the table to table this until a date certain of August 17th, 2021. Do I need to do something first, Mr.
You need a
City
second.
Attorney? Yep, well, I know, but on the first motion that we had?
No, this can interrupt.
Okay, all right. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Engbretson. Discussion?
If I may, I know this was, I'll wait for you to acknowledge me so I know you're.
Councilman Nell, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I apologize for interrupting, but I don't think we have any other way to get to you. I know it was brought up in the work session, but I think this is really unfair to both businesses. Whether we're going to give them this license or they have to get a restaurant license. We heard from both of them. They want to be open within the next 2 weeks. That does not give them enough time. They've got to decide which license they're getting and figure out how to move forward. I don't think this is fair of us to do this. I just wanted to put that out there.
Vice Mayor Pacheco.
I agree with Councilman Nell. I think they're ready for an answer, whether it's yay or nay on it to move forward. So I know they've put a lot of money into this, and so I'm not a businessman, but I probably understand that it's a lot to invest in something. So whether we say yes or no, I think they probably deserve that sooner rather than later. So that's kind of where I stand. So.
Any further discussion?
And let's be clear, Mr. Mayor, they're going to be able to open whether we give them this license or they have to get a restaurant license. They're going to be able to carry on. I just think it would be more fair for them to get whichever one they're doing so they can get with the Wyoming Liquor Board and everything else and get ready to go. That's where I'm coming from. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, so on the tabling, please cast your vote.
Nay.
Are we doing a roll?
I'm sorry, I was trying to wait for Gamroth, so then I would put the voting screen up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm being indecisive on this because we spent our pre-meeting discussing, reserving bar and grill licenses for when we need them. I guess I don't know what other council members, where they've landed on whether they felt those answers satisfied these two establishments going with a bar and grill license over a restaurant license. But, they offered to have us in for a walkthrough and stuff, and this doesn't give me the opportunity to take advantage of that. So I'm sorry, I'm struggling a little bit with it.
So what's your vote?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman.
This would be for the attorney. Can I withdraw my motion?
At this point, it's been moved, seconded, and the question's been called for, so no.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry, what, could you please remind me what it is exactly we're voting on right now?
You're voting on a motion that's on the floor right now by Councilman Kathy to table this to a date certain, being August 17th, 2021, so that we can have further discussion about it.
Can I say something, Mayor?
And should the amendment fail, the implication is that we're voting tonight on whether to award both of these establishments bar and grill or restaurant licenses?
Yeah. That's correct.
Okay.
So what's your vote?
So I just need
I don't know what you're waiting for me.
Yeah.
Aye.
That was an aye.
An aye for the
motion.
to table it.
Are you waiting for me as well or just for Mr. Gamroth?
We got yours.
Nope, we got yours.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So please record the vote.
With Counsel Gamroth voting aye, motion failed.
All right, so we'll go back to the original. The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, authorize the issuance of a bar and grill liquor license to Grace Partners LC doing business as Spotlight Lounge.
So moved.
And actually, I think, Mayor, we actually, that was on the table, so I think it was Council Member Pacheco and Sean Johnson who would second it.
All right, so moved by Vice Mayor Pacheco, second by Councilman Johnson. Discussion?
If I may, Your Honor.
Councilman Nell.
Thank you. I'm just of the opinion, after looking, physically going out and looking at the places, they are the only one, in my opinion, that should have the bar and grill license. They're set up for it. They've got that Woolworths bar, the thing, and they're going to be live music. I mean, I'm in favor of them issuing this, and I say we hang on to the other one. It's just my own opinion. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I guess I do.
Councilman Gamroth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could somebody please remind me when Mr. Taylor was supposed to report back to us? I thought I remembered Wyoming Downs communicating with Mr. Taylor about a potential full retail, and so I guess I'm just curious to know what other options are available to them. Thank you.
I believe it's in September.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? Any amendments? Okay, please cast your vote.
Both yeses?
Mm-hmm. And please record the vote.
With council members Kathy and Engebretson voting nay, motion passed.
The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, authorize the issuance of a bar and grill liquor license to Wyoming Downs OTB 12 LLC doing business as Wyoming Downs number 12.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Johnson. Second by Councilwoman Engebretson. Discussion?
If I may.
Councilman Nell.
I just wanted to say, and I hope these folks from Wyoming Downs don't think I'm opposed to them, because I'm not. But I'm still of the belief, after being in their establishment, people go there to gamble. They're cocktail waitresses. This, in my opinion, would be a waste of a license. A restaurant license will serve them every bit as good. Their revenue will not change. And I just think the reason there's a difference between the two of them is for situations just like this. And I would behoove us to hang on to that last one for when it may really be needed. Thank you.
Councilman Johnson.
I just want to say that Wyoming liquor laws are archaic, and I don't know that they've really changed much since Prohibition was repealed, honestly. And it's unfortunate that we have to be put in situations like this. I mean, really the difference in a restaurant and bar and grill license is over trivial things, in my opinion. And really in our position, business owners' position, I mean, it just puts people in a really tough spot all the way around. And I would really suggest that people get involved in the state level politics, especially when it comes to these types of laws, because that's the only way they're going to change.
Any other discussion? Any amendments? Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all council members voting nay, motion failed.
Please read the ordinance on third reading by title only.
An ordinance approving the vacation and replat, creating the Kensington Heights Edition Number 4 subdivision.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve on third reading the ordinance just read.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Johnson, second by Vice Mayor Pacheco, and I apologize again. It's not that we don't want Councilmember Pollock to be a part of this, but. Council will now listen to public comment. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes. No duplication of speakers will be allowed. Okay, discussion. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. If you can give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down again on the screens. Okay. And please record the vote.
With the abstention of Councilmember Ingebretson and Mayor Friel noted, motion passed.
Please read the ordinance on third reading by title only.
An ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 10.64 of the Casper Municipal Code.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve on third reading the ordinance just read.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor Pacheco, seconded by Councilwoman Ingebretson. Council will now listen to public comment. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. Do we have Michael Cavato on the phone? Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much for having me again here. Good evening, members of council. Appreciate your time. Once again, just want to reiterate on behalf of Bird Rides Incorporated, we do business as Bird, our enthusiasm and interest in working with the city of Casper, and provide myself as a resource to answer any remaining questions that the council may have this evening regarding scooters and the shared mobility business.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions anybody has? Vice Mayor Pacheco.
Thank you. So we received a few emails and a few just comments about e-scooters, and I think there's might be some confusion as to some of the emails that came out, and I just wanted some clarification so I make sure the public does know that any cost associated with these is all on Bird. Am I correct in saying that? And I know I'm just being somewhat redundant with this, but I just want to make sure that that our community understands that the city of Casper is not incurring any additional costs or any of that. So just wanted that clarification again, Mr. Caputo.
That is correct. Bird will be covering all of the costs for the implementation of the fleet and indeed paying the city a licensing fee for the privilege of using the public right-of-way.
Thank you. The other question that we also had was that there was some impression that the city workers would be having to clean these up and having to take care of them and doing that. You hire people, which is good for the economy, obviously, I think, for our community, to hire certain people to do these, obviously, in our community. Is that correct?
You're absolutely correct, Vice Mayor. The day that we get a license, or knock on wood, hopefully if we were to be approved for a license, we'll be creating between 2 and 4 small businesses for local entrepreneurs within the community within Casper. We'll be managing the day-to-day, including moving the scooters around, including keeping them recharged, so that city staff are not responsible for any aspect of this. Again, that is a cost that Bird incurs.
Great. Thank you so much for answering those. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Anybody else? Councilman Cathy.
I want to thank Vice Mayor Pacheco for bringing up those two concerns, because those were a couple of very hot points with the pros and the cons that we were receiving. So I want to thank you for that. And I wanted to state, too, what I stated in the work session, that basically I will go along with the younger crowd, but we do need to be very vigilant, very vigilant downtown from the safety standpoint, backing in and out of the parking spaces along those areas. And then I don't remember who is our liaison to the DDA, but have they ever, I have not seen anything from them one way or the other on this. Has anybody heard anything from them about this particular ordinance change?
Councilman Gamera.
Sure. I serve as liaison, and I brought it up to the executive director at the last board meeting. He didn't have strong feelings one way or another on it, but they hadn't conducted a survey of downtown businesses or anything like that, which is information I personally would have found valuable. But so I was just able to kind of take a straw poll of the individuals that were attending the meeting, and it was mostly neutral positions or slightly favorable, if I had to guess.
That, again, that comment there should ease some of the concerns that the people have had about downtown. It doesn't appear that the businesses are really in big opposition or anything, so that I think bodes well for us continuing forward as well. So thank you, Councilman Gamroth. I appreciate that. And again, thank you, Councilman or Vice Mayor Pacheco.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Cubano?
I have one, please.
Councilman Gamroth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Mr. Cavato, for joining us again. Could you please speak to, I know these programs just in the past couple of weeks down in Cheyenne, Evanston's been doing it for a while, and Rock Springs has been doing it for a while. Could you speak to what the usage has been in those areas? Has there been any cases where you and the municipality had to work together to fine tune their ordinances or their permitting processes? Thank you.
Excellent question. Within Cheyenne, we have seen unbelievable utilization since launching a little over a week ago. Certainly, I'm very pleased that the community has so quickly adopted it. I know that Frontier Days partially contributed to that. However, a substantial number of our riders are indeed locals. Similarly, within Rock Springs, Evanston, we see mixed utilization, certainly not to the same extent as within Rock Springs and Cheyenne, but I think that is to be expected given the difference in terms of both geography and population size. With respect to fine-tuning things, absolutely. Part of what we see ourselves as is partners with cities. Again, I use that in an informal sense, not in any legal capacity, so that we can help to fine-tune any ordinances or licensing processes, or even the operational zones and requirements that we have internally. Within BIRD, we will have a dedicated employee who can assist with any kind of technological solutions to implement. Certainly, I would imagine that that can be something that we can use as a first step before having to make any adjustments to ordinances. If I may offer one additional piece of detail with respect to local businesses, close to 60% of our trips do end in front of a small business, and there is considerable research which shows that e-scooters specifically drive substantial additional spending. Certainly there are some recent news articles speaking to the effect that BIRD has had on the local economy in other cities, so I do hope that the DBA will see that effect within Casper as well.
Thank you. And then well, it's not a question for Mr. Cavato, so if there's discussion after this, I'll just hold. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Cavato? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, members of council.
All right, do we have any other public comment? All right,
sorry.
then.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I can hardly hear anything over here, and my head is all cloudy. I apologize.
All right, so we'll move on to discussion. Councilman Gamroth.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, thank you again to Mr. Cavato for all the information. I did call city officials in Rock Springs, Evanston, and Cheyenne last week to get their I talked to their city clerk's offices and a couple of council members and a community development director, and they all, I still do have some concerns, but they all had pretty favorable opinions of the programs in their towns. There was a couple case studies of younger riders, riding them below the age limit, but I suppose if that becomes an issue, whoever unlocked the access to the scooter, maybe we can search for ways to enforce that a little bit greater. So I still think we're going to have some of those case studies of issues, but I was pleased to hear that it's mostly favorable in all the communities where they have done it. But I guess I would just, the one primary concern I have is we still haven't gotten any sort of estimate of what the cost to the city was brought up earlier. I imagine this is going to require some signage and stuff. And so that was my hesitation with lowering the fees and stuff was we still I don't at least know what the actual cost, I believe there will be an actual cost to the city and I haven't seen what that estimate is. And so that's my major hang up at the moment, but it does sound like the other communities where these programs are operating, they've had positive experiences thus far.
Okay, other discussion? Vice Mayor Pacheco.
Yeah, the only comment that I wanted to make was the two clarifications that I wanted to have Byrd representative make, Mr. Cavuto, for that. So I think that was, like Councilman Cathy said, it was a couple hot topics there, and that's what I've heard out in the communities, some misunderstanding of who's running Byrd, what's that process look like. And so I also feel emboldened by, and feel encouraged, I should say, for us to go forward with this is, I've been a part of council for a lot of years and know when there's a good public consensus, they don't want something, they're here, they're communicating with us, they're coming out and talking to us, and we have third reading. So I feel very good that we haven't had that overwhelming consensus from the community. Seems to be either like what Councilman Gamroth said, either somewhat indifferent because they really don't know, but we would probably know in the next 6 weeks whether or not it's something that people really like here or not. And so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for Casper, for our businesses, and for our economy, and I think that's always good for us. So I'm willing to give it a shot and see what happens. So,
other discussion? The only thing that I'll echo what Councilman Cathy said is, and it's not just downtown. This is the main focus may end up being downtown, and we got to be careful down there. But these are going to go anywhere, so just be diligent that they're out there and make sure that nobody gets hurt. So, okay, any amendments? All right, please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, motion passed.
Please read the ordinances on second reading by title only.
Item 12A1, an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 15.04 of the Casper Municipal Code and adopting the 2021 edition of the International Building Code. Item 12A2, an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 15.02 of the Casper Municipal Code and adopting the 2021 edition of the International Residential Code. Item 12A3, an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 15.20 of the Casper Municipal Code and adopting the 2021 edition of the International Mechanical Code. Item 12A4, an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 15.24 of the Casper Municipal Code and adopting the 2021 edition of the International Plumbing Code. Item 12A5, an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 15.18 of the Casper Municipal Code and adopting the 2021 edition of the International Fuel Gas Code. Item 12A6, an ordinance amending Section 15.06.020 of the Casper Municipal Code and adopting the 2021 edition of the International Existing Building Code. And item 12A7, an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 15.40 of the Casper Municipal Code and adopting the 2021 edition of the International Fire Code.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve on second reading the ordinances just read.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Pollak, seconded by Councilwoman Ingebretson. Council will now listen to public comment. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. Discussion? Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, motion passed.
Please read the ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance updating and amending certain sections of Chapter 5.08 of the Casper Municipal Code.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve on second reading the ordinance just read.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilwoman Engbretson. Council will now listen to public comment. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. Discussion? Any amendments?
I move to adopt the proposed Amendment 1, which is on pages 298 through 299 in the August 3rd, 2021 council meeting packet. This language will clear up inconsistencies in sections 5.08.150, liquor license holder restrictions.
So I have an amendment on the floor to, and second by Councilman Johnson. Discussion? Please cast your vote on the motion to amend. Please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, motion passed.
Are there any other amendments? Not yet. All right, there being no further amendments, any further discussion? All right, please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all members passed, motion passed as amended.
Please read the consent resolutions by title only.
Item 13A1, a lease with Casper Junior Football League. Item 13A2, an outside city water service for certain landowner in the Swingle Ranch tracks. Item 13A3, a contract for senior center air conditioning upgrades with Casper Tin Shop. Item 13A4, acceptance of a Wyoming Office of Homeland Security grant for Regional Response Team 2 equipment. And item 13A5, a contract for the Baylor ejection cylinder project with recycling industrial repairs.
Chair would entertain a motion to adopt the consent resolutions just read.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Cathy. Mr. City Manager, would you like to make any comments? Okay. Any abstention or nay votes? Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
All members voting aye, motion passed.
Please read the consent minute action title.
Reappointing Deb Clark and Christopher Critter Murray to the Downtown Development Authority Board of Directors.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent minute action agenda item just read.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Cathy, second by Councilmember Pollock. Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, motion passed.
At this time, we ask council members to bring forward relevant concerns or items of interest. Councilman Cathy, we'll start with you.
I'll pass.
All right. Councilmember Pollock.
Thank you.
Councilman Nell.
Thank you, sir. I'm currently partaking in Sturgis, where they are expecting their largest ever crowd of 1.8 million bikers. Casper is going to be very busy. The entire state of Wyoming is, as far as getting to and from. So I just ask the public to keep in mind there will be a lot of motorcycles on the road. Please look twice. And thank you. That's all I had.
All right, Councilman Gamroth.
I don't have anything this evening. Thanks.
Councilwoman Ingebretson.
Nothing for me tonight, thank you.
Councilman Johnson.
Thank you. So I missed the last two meetings. I had several unexpected visitors at my house, so I apologize for that. Also, I kind of wanted to bring up, I've been working pretty diligently the last few months or so, chairing a couple of political action committees in concert with state and national Libertarian Party and other special interest groups around Wyoming in order to change Wyoming statutes on cannabis prohibition and medical access to cannabis. And we have just gotten word that the Secretary of State has conditionally certified our initiatives, and we are in the signature gathering phase for the next 18 months. And so I'm confident that Wyoming will see those two initiatives on the ballot this coming election. So that's all I got.
All right, Vice Mayor Pacheco.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
All right. The only thing I had is I was asked to. Yeah. I was asked to throw out the first pitch for the police officers did a fundraiser for Safe Ride, and actually they asked me to stick around and play ball with them, so I did, and it was fun. So, but that's about it. So the next meeting of the City Council will be a work session to be held at 4:30 p.m. Tuesday, August 10th, 2021 in the council meeting room, and a regular council meeting to be held at 6 p.m. Tuesday, August 17th, 2021 in the council chambers. A notice of an executive session to take place at this date and during this meeting was given. We have a matter to discuss regarding an ongoing investigation, land acquisition, and litigation. Therefore, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session, and at the conclusion of that executive session to reconvene this regular meeting solely for purposes of adjournment of this regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Pollock, second by Vice Mayor Pacheco. There being a majority of members present and a motion to adjourn into an executive session having been moved and seconded, and that motion requiring a 2/3 majority of the council present. Please cast your votes. Please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, motion passed.
A greater than 2/3 majority of the council present voted in favor of the motion. We are hereby adjourned into an executive session.